Hi, everybody. My name is Lena Ruth Shwartz, and I'll be presenting on my piece called The New Body. Thank you so much for having me here. I'll begin by saying, as textile artists, we are accustomed to our bodies being a part of our work. The physicality and labor of fiber is innate. Its repetitive motion is both meditative, but at times it can be detrimental in terms of overuse and injury. Repetitive work can embed textiles with an emotionality that's only accessed through this durational component. It really is an unloading of the subconscious. The new body was an amalgam of healing from chronic pain that struck me down 4 years ago. I built this piece in my final act of convalescence because my old body wasn't doing me any good. I was at the time creating a new body for myself, one that shared the pain, how much I've learned from it, how it's changed how I see the world. So it's about wearing your insides on your outsides. These are a few preliminary sketches. And I want to add that I prioritized using wool and cotton yarns sourced from my local yarn shop, and I avoided acrylic and unnatural fibers. So this is both a wearable piece and sculptural. I sewed wire into the work to create a phantom figure. And I strung it from the ceiling using cascades of fine fishing line. Um, boop, 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 boop. So it's an abundant flurry of intuitive crochet. I was really inspired by 18th century, 19th century anatomical models like the lithographs from the Atlas of Human Anatomy and Surgery and the whimsy patterns of clown suits and allusions to stardust, stylized representations of the way that my pain moved through my body, and prehistoric symbols like the spiral, the hypnotic ass. This particular example is from a megalithic site in Malta. Historians suppose that spirals were allusions to life cycles, to perpetual rebirth. So to tell this story fully, I'll have to go back a few years to the beginning when I was an obsessive tapestry weaver, weaving very time-intensive, hyper-realistic tapestries of my grandmother. So after doing too much, I developed an unrelenting and ever-evolving pain in my hands and forearms, and it curbed my handiwork tremendously for about 3.5 years. It really was constant discomfort. I couldn't handwrite, I couldn't lift anything, I couldn't make anything, and anything that I tried to do would exacerbate it, each flare more intense than the last. So I stopped trying for a while and I just rested. As the years crept on, my pain started to lessen and I learned how to strengthen and stretch my body, trying different modalities. But it really was only when I began to think of my body holistically and not be afraid that the pain began to dissipate. I learned that I probably kept the pain on through memory, through neural pathways repeated and hypersensitized to the triggers I had taught my brain to fear. Pain was like a protective sleeve, holding me in a childlike state. My work is also very interconnected to the natural world. I'm interested in species entanglement and mythologizing biological systems as they fall apart. So these jawbones, they're intertwining human and canine, a blur of the wild and the tame. And leafy blooms creep up the legs to ground you into the earth. I'm combining bone and golden ligaments in examination of life and death. So after I finished these works, I actually went to a show at the American Folk Art Museum in New York, and I was really struck by these two pieces in particular. They were made by female patients in asylums in the 1930s and 40s, and I was really struck by the similarities, specifically to the one on the right, its symmetry, its exploration of color and form, and the empathic push of a psychologically compelled wearable art. And finally, I'm also a musician, and I would be remiss to not include that this piece also had an audio component, which I'm not going to share now, but blended phrase of poetry and song. So to finish up, I will share a fragment of this, but I'll recite just the last 4 lines. And now if I cry out, the body will listen, and the body will comply, and the body will submit, and the body will release. Thank you.